swimming the forbidden zone. They were captured by the shrewdness of apes. But what the hell is the shrewdness of apes? And why is Taylor wearing a man frock and saying city looks like Fraggle Rock? Did the Chambers, did the Insulin, Mr. Spock? These are just the facts we try not to mock on. The minute of the apes. 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 Yeah!
Hello and welcome to Minute of the Apes, the podcast where we break down every damn dirty minute of the Planet of the Apes movies, 1 minute at a time, on the first take. I'm your host, Sean, and joining me as always are my co-hosts, Todd and Richard. What's up, guys?
Not a lot.
Hey, Sean, we're all coming up on New Year's.
I know, Christmas has already passed and New Year's is rapidly approaching.
Anybody get anything good for Christmas?
Eggnog hangover.
I got all the monies.
All the monies?
Yes.
I would love to say that I got nothing bad, but Hanukkah Hera came to me and I got a lump of coal and some socks.
I got a Nintendo Switch.
You did. Hint, hint.
Hello.
All right, we're going to start minute 58 with the gorillas on horseback that are knocking over a chimp as they're chasing down Taylor, and it ends with Taylor running off screen to our left. And as of this minute, we've got 2 living humans, 2 dead humans, the shrewdness of apes, all in pursuit of Heston, or Taylor, I guess, and a gaggle of humanoids.
And Apicurky? Is that what
Apicurky, yes.
Yeah. Does that get added to it now? Do we ever have to mention Apicurky?
Anytime we want to. If we can't talk about the city, we'll call it Apicurky.
I'm never going to try and say it again because apparently I can't get it. Is.
Why do you think I'm not saying it so much? Okay, so as I was writing down, they knocked a chimp over to the ground. Do you think that chimp is a derogatory term on their planet? You got to call them chimpanzees, otherwise you're specious.
Specious. That's interesting. What so in the lexicon of words that we're going to have to trademark, because eventually we're going to have a store on the website.
Yeah.
We've talked about that. We'll have specious. Don't be specious.
Don't be specious.
So what hits me right away, and boy, that was a big but the noose returns.
We have proper use of rope technology here. If you're going to do it, you put it at the end of a stick and then wrap it around somebody's throat.
And boy, he is fighting against that thing.
Mm-hmm. So in the notes that I have about the original script that we have, he runs to the amphitheater first, then runs to the marketplace. But clearly he went to the market first, the last minute. And this one is the first sense of the amphitheater, right?
Yeah.
We see him run up the steep stairs. You were talking about, the camera shots in the previous minutes. Mm-hmm. This is when it really became apparent to me because things start to actually kind of give you that sense of vertigo as these steps are steep.
The city is not just a two-dimensional city, it's three-dimensional.
And I'd kind of wondered, was that just kind of set design to kind of minimize the amphitheater to make it small, tiny so they can do all the action in there and kind of run around inside of it. But those steps would terrify me. I've had nightmares about steps like that.
Making one misstep. Speaking of which, Taylor found the one bug of the design with the rope on a stick. You've got to actually hold on to it to actually make it work.
Right.
I'm assuming he killed that ape whenever he kicked him down those flight of steps. Because that's got to be a good 50-foot drop.
Well, and it's also that every one of those steps, as you're kind of alluding to,
is at a 50, 55
degree
angle.
So if he fell the way he fell,
he's dead.
So that alone is probably the 3rd or 4th time now that we've talked about a stunt person in this film taking a fall.
Just a dive.
Something where it looks like,
during the hunt at the beginning.
Yeah,
the hunt at the beginning when they're jumping off that cliff right next to the water's edge. Then we have the big jump that Taylor did to get away from the apes, and then this fall,
Well, Taylor runs up the steps. He gets kind of noosed by this one ape. He pulls at it. We get kind of a shot of him from the front as he's kind of pulling away from this. He manages to kind of whip himself around, grab the stick off of the ape. As he grabs the noosing stick, he throws that ape, and that's the ape coming diving down over those gigantic steps that we just saw. And I was like, and then he's going head first. And they had to have a trampoline or a mattress or something for the land into.
Something, I agree.
But as
they had a couple of guys going, "Come on, we got you. We'll catch you."
As this ape kind of flies over the steps, another ape just kind of tumbles down off the steps with him. It was kind of I was like, why did that guy fall?
Well, then once the moment with the noose ends, so this got into something that Richard I talked to you about before we started recording today, that it felt to me that in these moments that maybe they shot things in a different manner than what we see, because he gets this noose on him, he knocks the guy, and when he gets free, it is literally a second and a half later, he has got the noose off, he's running away, and when he comes to the next shot, which is the amphitheater going down.
And he goes over the camera?
Well, over the camera's coming, which disturbed the hell out of me, but we'll get to that. So, as he's going to the amphitheater, if you pause and look down, which again, I know, they did not have pausing technology. However, the gorillas are scampering away.
Yeah.
And there's, like, I think you even called it like a child's toy or something. Like, there's some rocky cylindrical thing at the bottom that looks like maybe there was action that he pushed something.
They're down there.
And they're scampering to get away, because if you really watch it, he's coming down and they're running away from him.
So there are two different things that are kind of happening here. When he first runs up the steps of the amphitheater, we see a cleaning crew separating. We see 4 chimps, one with a broom.
I don't remember that.
We see 4 chimps, one with a rudimentary broom, from the center flee.
We can make guns, but broom technology, we're
Like-
just
like-
on
like-
the cusp of cracking that one.
Like they're a cleaning crew. When he throws that one ape down after the noosing and scurries back down to the center, there is an awkward cut, and there is this object in the center of the amphitheater that wasn't there moments before, that is kind of partially moving around.
Wobbling around.
And it looks like that child's toy that was red that you'd put the shapes into.
It does, but a much
shapes.
bigger version of it.
Correct. There is absolutely nothing in here about that. There's nothing in here about
him throwing anything down.
Basically, he emerges the access tunnel, runs up a ramp, encircling the amphitheater, pausing for breath at the top of the amp. He crouches behind the upmost seats. Cop spots him at the top tier. Starts after Taylor. He runs back down the ramp. Originally is confronted by another pursuer. Blows a whistle. Moves into the marketplace. Literally, they had nothing written down for this action in this version of the script that I have.
And in no way does this inconsistency or whatever the gorillas are doing to get away, does it ruin the moment? Because the moment you are very much caught up in, he's getting away and running. And this is also where I do have the note of what you mentioned before, the ape sounds are everywhere in the score.
Yes.
And it literally is, because you will hear, ooh, 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 and it's very rhythmic. Even though there is a rhythmic nature to the music, it is very much in a metered time. So it's an interesting choice, and it's almost always when we see Heston on screen. It's never when we see an ape on screen. So it keeps them present.
Even there when they're not there.
So we talked about the ass shot a little bit earlier with Heston wearing the jock strap and all that kind of stuff. I don't know why I'm going here, but when he gets down to the center of the amphitheater, the camera angle completely changes, and it's an upskirt angle for about 5 seconds.
Yeah, they make sure to give Heston a little tuck between his legs.
No, they
diaper tuck.
They pulled that diaper tuck.
So we went from the tuck he had. What did you call that? Whenever they went swimming, the fruit basket that they had when they went swimming, to now he's literally tucked the loincloth.
Yeah. But I'm trying to imagine shooting at that particular era. He's on a flat surface.
Mm-hmm.
And in order to get the sense of him now frantically running back up those steps again, the cinematographer or director decided to take the camera
and have him run
and
over
get underneath it and have Heston run over the camera.
So now
which goes into Shamroy's whole thing of trying the handheld stuff because he wanted to jar you. And I think what's actually, besides the fear that I almost saw Heston's jewels, was the camera immediately after then goes upside down while the apes climb. It literally,
the world is literally turned.
The world is literally upside down.
This was very effective. I'm sorry, that shot was very effective, but it was the first time that had actually been used at any particular point, other than what you've already talked about.
But it literally does have that upside down feel where you feel it's beyond chaos. There's now fear. You cannot control the world. You can't say this is what I'm doing. It's gone.
We're getting legs and elbows. We're getting this kind of. We're literally seeing like his thighs as he moves away from this camera. It's intense.
Once again, I don't often do this in a moment, but the name of this episode has to be Heston's Jewels.
There you go. And we get more Heston core as he gets to the top of the wall and gracefully leaps over it. And I happen to pause it at that point, too. And that's when you get another shot, kind of what the city is supposed to look like. So he jumps over this wall.
Yes.
You can see to our left another building. But then there's nothing else except for on the ridge, which has to be a matte painting of 4 more buildings.
Oh, I didn't even notice that one.
I didn't notice that at all. I was watching the action so much.
Yeah.
I started noticing at this point, too, and you alluded to a jumping moment with Heston in a previous moment that I don't recall, but in this one there's more jumping.
Mm-hmm.
He jumps gracefully, beautifully. The apes...
They fall off walls. They can't make the jumps.
It was very comedic. I can't jump a foot.
I know.
can barely hold on.
So did they literally... Okay.
It looks
So Taylor leaps on the rooftop, and 2 apes try to pursue him across that rooftop.
It almost looks like he trips and falls.
Yeah.
If dogs evolved, would they lose their sniffing? My beagle, you could not take sniffing away from her if you wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
But apes in this world...
Did they lose their ability to leap and hold on to surfaces? I mean, are these boots that the gorillas are wearing, is that slowing them down, cutting them off from nature?
Do they need to get a rubber sole so they have more traction?
They need to get some Vibram 5 fingers in the future so they can really get a good grip on the ground.
It feels at times they do such a fantastic job of introducing the upside down world. They do such a fantastic job of the hero.
All right, Stranger Things.
Yeah. I didn't even think about that. They do a fantastic job of the makeup and the color design, but they lose all nature of what an ape is at that point to get Heston away from them.
Yeah.
It's just silly.
They have to make the bad guys worse than they are. They become stormtroopers with their shooting and that kind of stuff, and so they have to be clumsy.
They do.
Okay, and
it's Keystone Cops.
How funny that is! I didn't even think of that because as a kid, I used to think
that the stormtroopers are just bad shots.
I thought they had been cloned so many times that they had simply couldn't shoot. Yeah,
they're cross-eyed.
They were literally
hit.
So you begin to wonder, as a kid, can you?
Maybe there's a tie between Planet of the Apes and Star Wars.
There's always been a tie between Planet of the Apes and Star Wars. Somebody write that comic book, please.
So it went from Star Wars, because there was a long, long time ago, and then they eventually mutated into Planet of the Apes. Is that the way we're going?
I think I've never loved you more, Sean. That's a beautiful story.
Richard, can you leave the room? We need a moment.
Oh, okay.
I have a note here that I found online in all my digging. The ape village was modeled on the work of Spanish architect Antonio Gaudi and I don't know how to say this correctly, Girame Valley in Cappadocia, Turkey.
Keep reading. I just want you to struggle through more sentences.
I know, yeah.
But I found that. I thought that was incredibly... I love stuff like that. I love when they... you it's like what Ralph McQuarrie did for Star Wars. You simply find the smallest little weird influence and it looks foreign in a world.
So I don't know if we've really talked about this too much. We went inside Cornelius's office. We went inside the zoo/prison. We went inside the chamber, the operating chamber for the apes, the humans. We're now getting a sense of their city, and a sense of their city is very tight. It's dirt. It's shaped
no straight lines,
clay and stone. It's windows without glass,
without panes. Yeah,
it's very
primal.
It's very.
It's not that far removed.
Tribe living in
very Adobe,
and it's not that far removed from what you might expect a dwelling at a zoo with a bunch of apes might look like.
It does look like that, very much so. Yeah, shaped like that. We don't have a sense of technology.
Again, because apparently the brooms suck.
Right. No, the brooms.
But their guns are awesome. Their guns are on point.
We have. It's just this kind of. You're now getting a sense of what their cities look like.
So at this point,
we got another clumsy ape. Whenever Taylor jumps over from the stairs to the other roof, you got another ape that tries to make the jump. And
he literally does hit his belly.
Yeah.
And I thought, oh my god,
these guys stink.
They can't handle nets and they can't jump.
What are they supposed to do? You hand them a banana and they starve to death. I don't know what to do.
They take really good pictures after a hunt through cornfield.
There you go.
They're great photographers. They're really skilled with their eyes.
Yeah, their cameras are awesome, but their brooms are...
So